Good evening and welcome to the Girl Talk Sunday podcast. I am your host, Sandy Best Life Jones, and I am here to help women just like you from all over the world discover the purpose and the plan for your life through honoring God, honoring your body, and owning your worth. Yes, we are a faith based platform, but all who come in peace are welcome. Wow, I cannot believe this day is actually here. I have been waiting and waiting and waiting for today. Angie and I had such a great pre-interview. She's a great conversationalist. I could just talk to her all day long outside of, interviewing her about what she does and who she is. She has a very, very compelling backstory. Um, she has a very sweet spirit, a sweet personality. She's somebody that you definitely would want in your corner as your friend. I really like her. And I just recently found out we have a gym in common. So we're always at Hot Work sweating it out. So I'm excited to talk with her and bring her out so you can meet her and hear her story. And he'll hear all about Ataruka consulting. It's such a great story, and I can't wait for you to hear it. But before we do that, you know what I always ask you to do before we get started with the show tonight? I need you to go on Facebook and share this live. I need you to go on YouTube, like the video, subscribe to my channel so you never miss when I go live, and share the YouTube video as well. We want as many people as possible to come in and watch this interview. And really, it's just a conversation between two women who have a lot in common. And I want to make sure that those who need to hear it are in here to hear it and see it. So if you don't mind, please go ahead and like and share this live. Thank you so much. Before we get started, I want to make sure I tell you what I'm wearing tonight, because you know that's what we do. Earrings are from Amazon. Necklace is all paparazzi. Y'all know I love me some paparazzi, and Nasmi Johnson is my paparazzi supplier, and I want to make sure that I amplify her business. You can find her on Facebook and YouTube at Be Adorned by Nasmi Chantel. Bracelets are all paparazzi. Rings are paparazzi. I love paparazzi. What can I say? So y'all go check Nasmi out. She's awesome. And how was your Sunday? Did everybody have a good Sunday? I had a great day today. Church was really good. It was the last Sunday of Black History Month. So we paid tribute to the month that we celebrate all of February. And the little children sang, and it was really great. We had a good time today. Pastor spoke a really powerful message. He is in a series on marriage. And although I am a single woman, I have gotten so much out of this series. I've learned a lot in this series about what it takes to have a healthy, balanced relationship, more specifically, marriage. And so I really appreciate him diving a little deeper into, marriage and commitment and covenant and what all of those things mean. And as someone who's been married for 35 years to his lovely wife, First Lady Vanessa, I just appreciate him sharing this insight and this wisdom with us. So it was a great message. I'm not sure how much longer we're going to be in the series, but I hope it's at least 2 weeks longer, because it's getting really good. So, all right, I had a great Sunday. I hope you did too. We're going to get into the show. Angie is here. She is patiently waiting in the green room. So I'm going to bring her out. All right, here we go. There she is. Hi, Angie.
Hey, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Sandy, for having me. And yeah, this is great. This is an awesome way to end a Sunday.
All right, that's what I said. This is good. I got like 4 weeks worth of shows lined up. So I'll be spending my Sunday for the next month or so, at
Okay.
least. And we've already got some love in the chat for you. I'm so happy. I love that. I love when people support my guests that come on the show. It's so important, I think. You need to know that people see you and that they admire what you do,
Yeah.
and that they want to hear how you became who you are and what
Mm-hmm.
that journey was like for you. So I love when people gather in the chat. I do. I love tons of questions in the chat, comments, all of it. I love it all. So y'all just get to typing because
Yes,
we
you
gonna
do your
pop in that
thing.
chat. All right, Angie Jones is the founder and owner of Ataruka Coaching. And
Mhm.
Angie, I'm going to say to you what I say to all of my guests who come and sit with me on the Girl Talk Sunday sofa. Angie, tell us who you are, tell us what you do, and tell us why you do it.
I love it. I am many things, and that's part of the journey, and that's part of the blessing, that realization that I get to do that. And there's nothing wrong with that. And out of that, I am an entrepreneur. I own my own coaching and consulting firm. I do a lot of mentoring and just helping people be their best selves, helping people get to their next, whatever that next is. And I love leadership. That's kind of my jam. I like to tell people that leadership development and just helping leaders just really thrive, and usually very productive and highly functioning leaders. But I also love to work with aspiring leaders too. It's just something about helping people. So there's that. But in addition to all of that, I'm also a mom of two awesome kids. I say kids, they're real grown, and three grandchildren, 8, 6, and 3, and one on the way. I got the fourth one on the way here any day now. Like within the next couple of weeks, I'll have number 4 of the, of the grandchildren
All right.
here. Yes, but it's a beautiful thing. I just love I love the becoming. I'm really enjoying the becoming, and it's never ending. So, but not in a bad way, not in a never arrived, but in an enjoying every part of the journey.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Not in the never arrived, but you just, you're just enjoying the journey.
Yes.
I love
This
that.
girl
I'm the
has
same way. I'm
yeah,
like that
lots
about
of emotions.
going back to what you said about your kids. My kids are good and grown. My son turned 34 yesterday, but I and my daughter will be 39 next month. But I
Mhm.
just remember my son sitting at the table. I think he was about 4 years old, and he was eating a bowl of cereal, and he was crying because the cereal was leaving. But he didn't understand that it was leaving because he was eating it.
Right,
He was
right.
so
Oh
distraught.
my gosh.
And my dad was here visiting me from Las Vegas at the time. And my dad had real tears running out of his eyes from laughing at his grandson crying and eating his cereal. So that's the
Eating
way
it.
I remember my son, even though he's 34 years old now. He's a grown man, but you just
Yes,
forget those memories of when they were little. And
it's
even when
so
they become
true.
adults, I
Mhm.
still feel like they're still babies to me. They're still my babies. And
Mhm.
that's
Always.
them.
We
Yes.
remind them always that that never goes away. And I'm still my mama's baby, so and I get that. She reminds me. So
Yes.
that's another thing. I am a daughter, I am a sister. I'm an auntie to 3 awesome nephews, and I am you know how you have play cousins. I'm play mama, play auntie, play
Mhm.
grandmama to a ton of people too. So
I want to talk a little bit about life before Ataruka.
okay.
But okay, I'll get to the other part later. But
Okay.
before Ataruka, what were you doing? What line of work were you in?
Well, the immediate thing that I was doing right before launching my coaching business full time last summer was pastoring. I was an executive pastor at
Mhm.
a awesome, awesome local church. I'm going to plug right now, Pacific Church. We love you guys. Hey, we had a great Sunday too. Did some of the similar things that you did today, and honoring Black History Month and wrapping it up. We kind of pride ourselves in being that very relational, but in that good and hard way. Like we have the hard conversations. Let's just put it that way, very openly, and we love one another very
Mhm.
deeply. And so I was executive pastor on staff there.
Mhm.
Now I am board member, secretary treasurer there as a effective October of this last year.
Mhm.
And I don't know that I could ever necessarily be a part of a local church body and not be doing something.
Right.
So titles don't matter for me as much as showing up and being the light in the community where we are. So yeah.
Yeah. And so you were executive pastor from 2019 to 2021. What was
Mm-hmm.
that like? What was it like
Oh,
to be
yeah,
an executive pastor?
2019, 20 to 2021, formally, at
Right.
a different church together, and then from 2021 up through last year, summer of 2024. So, yeah, I mean, it wasn't necessarily something that I originally sought out,
Mm-hmm.
but I was encouraged and really affirmed in the idea that I was already living the role out. So, in plain English, it's more like an organizational manager or organizational director or organizational whatever. You're just touching all things in that role. You're helping to manage staff. You're doing a lot of planning, strategic planning, event planning, a lot of envisioning with alongside the lead pastors. um, just a great time. I mean, it's just a lot that goes into it. And when you're in a smaller church like we are now, we were in a big church together, and now we're in a smaller church that's growing. Um, it You just wear a lot of hats, and thankfully, the life that I've lived up until now afforded me to be able to carry that role with a little bit more fortitude and foundation, and not freak out too much because because it's a lot that goes into it. So much more. People, you come to church on a Sunday morning, and you come and you sing with your friends, and you have that cup of coffee or whatever it is, and then you hear an awesome word and you go home. But there's a lot that goes into not just the Sunday morning, but the things that the church does on any
Mm-hmm.
given day, in
Mm-hmm.
the lives of the people who are attending it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it was beautiful work, and therefore, I'm still around. They still call me Pastor Angie. It's just in a lay pastor kind of way.
So, how did the experience of being a pastor inform your work with Ataruka Consulting?
I would say that when I discovered coaching originally
Mm-hmm.
back in 2014, 2015, I think I learned about myself that in an informal way, I had been doing that my whole life. I just didn't know that that's what I was doing. So really, I look at it as coaching has informed everything else I've done, and
Okay.
yeah, I really do. I just got a chance to, once I discovered it, I got a chance to firm that up with some skill set that comes with it. You can have something in you innately and you can do it naturally. Some people are just like natural singers and things like that, but there are skills to learn surrounding that, and there's a professionalism that you want to develop, and industry this and that. So I got a chance to pursue those things and really firm it up and really realize, like, oh my gosh, this is what I've been called to do. This is what I've been doing,
Mm-hmm.
and I get to add that to this pastoral role that I'm carrying. And it really is a strengthening process in that um, we learn to show up for people. I mean, pastors, that's what they're doing. They're showing up for people and
Mm-hmm.
sharing the love of Christ, the heart of Christ, guiding, listening, so some of those things are very similar in the coaching world. But the difference is, when we let coaching inform in that pastoral kind of way,
Mm-hmm.
we're not telling people what to do as much as we are guiding them and letting them make their next steps in an informed way, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
helping them come up with what that information is, or leading them to it, but not necessarily pushing them, because I think the more that we learn about ourselves and what we do of our own volition is what sticks. If we
Mm-hmm.
are
Yeah.
doing things that someone told us to do, we might do it for a minute, but then we'll find ourselves coming back off of that and back in our old ways again real quick.
So, if I come to Ataruka Consulting and I say, I need your services, am I getting life coaching, career coaching, relationship coaching, a little bit of all of it? What am I going to get from you?
Well, we would sit and talk about where you're at now and what it is that you want to see happening right now. Because Ataruka means It's a Swahili word that means to leap or to jump. So
Okay.
I'm there to help people take that leap, jump, whatever it is, prepare them for the leap or jump into whatever it is that they're ready to do. But would if you were seeking me out, you would see me talking a lot about leadership development and leadership support. So I'm there to help leaders become who they want to be, who they are, bringing to the top things that are already there, right? And then if there are skill sets, leaders like little tangible skill sets that leaders want to dive into, we can do that too, because I've got a lot of experience in that area as well. But it really is about this whole idea of getting to take a pause,
Mhm.
and what I call the dynamic pause. It's an intentional pause that we sit in, and it has three pillars to it. So, one, you would pause to breathe, meaning that as a highly productive, high performing person, leader, you're going all the time. And so when do you pause? When do you just say, okay, stop, right? We don't do that often enough as leaders. And when we take that intention to do that, what rises to the top for us? Well, usually we're going to see something that we haven't seen, right, in a
Mhm.
bit,
Mhm.
or we're going to discover something about ourselves. Okay. So, in that pause, in that discovery, in that reimagining, whatever, that's the whole goal of that first pillar, is just to stop for a
Mhm.
minute. Metaphorically, we don't, I'm not telling you quit your jobs and all that stuff. I'm saying
Yeah,
we're
make
just
that.
going yes, we're saying we're just gonna pause, and it's gonna be intentional. And then from there, we move on to a pause to negotiate, I call it. And we're negotiating with ourselves. We're taking what we just saw in that first pillar, and we're saying, okay, what does that mean? And form some identity around it, right? So I saw this about myself. Is this something that I want to say, yes,
Mhm.
this is a part of who I am? And if I'm ready to make that determination, then you take that second phase of your dynamic pause, and we'll firm that up in the work that we do together.
Mhm.
Okay. And then from there, we move on to pause to innovate, which in church world, we're going to say we're pausing to breakthrough, because we're going to take what we just learned about ourselves, that new information, that identity affirming stuff that
Mhm.
has to do what kind of leader we are, what kind of person we are, what we bring to the table, what our past has informed us of, our leadership style, all those things. And we're going to decide what we're going to do with it. We're innovating. And so innovating doesn't necessarily mean that you're leaving your current position. It could just mean that you're learning how to show up differently in that role.
Mhm.
You're learning how to show up differently in your family relationships. You're learning how to show up differently, with your friends. If that's innovation. So you decide, I'm doing something with this, let's go. And we'll come up with a plan together, and you'll see how you're going to do that. And I really did that whole model myself. That's how I, even saw that whole thing. That's what I did personally some years
Mhm.
ago. And that's how I became to be where I am today. And so I just really believe we can take that model and we can apply that almost in anything that we're pursuing. And we can put that to, let's take these steps. We're going to intentionally pause. We're going to breathe, because when you breathe, it's healing. When we breathe, we make room for, this is a faith-based show. So when the
Mhm.
Lord says, sit still,
Mhm.
we hear his voice more clearly. You know what I'm saying? There's things that just come to us when we sit still for a minute and allow it to happen. So we do that kind of vibe together in the coaching experience. And then we decide what we're going to do with what we saw in that next phase. So I'm excited about that. And that's what happens when you come to Ataruka, and we can just decide in your initial call
Yeah.
what it is that you're wanting to pursue in that moment. Like, are you really pursuing a career change, or are you so frustrated with things? It's so backed up and so full that you don't know. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Guess
Mhm.
what? It still works because we can figure some stuff out in our pause to breathe, right?
Right, right. So, what would you say are some misconceptions that people have about coaching, and how do you help them see the value in it?
Yeah, I think if I'm real honest with you,
Mhm.
I don't like how easy it is sometimes to put on the title of coach, even though um because I feel it's not as regulated as some other industries, but it doesn't mean that there's not validity behind it and that there isn't research. There's tons of research out there that will tell you how effective coaching is and what it does in the life of a person. There's tons of different applications. There's spiritual coaching, there's, life coaching, there's leadership coaching, career coaching, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of different avenues you can flow down.
Mhm.
But for me, the danger part is just throwing up the shingle and then everybody's just out there saying that. But then it's kind of more dangerous. It's more about what I told you a minute ago. Like you're just barking at people and telling them what to do. And,
Mhm.
which is not it. There are some core competencies and some ethics behind this discipline. And so I try to educate about that as much as I can, but also as a business owner who's growing her business, I literally try to do business with people who already understand it because it I can teach, but at the same time, it's not feasible to try to work with someone who doesn't see the value already. I can have
Mm.
a conversation with you like you and I are having now,
Mhm.
um, but there's just a little bit more groundwork into the educational process. But I'm doing a book. I'm writing a book that's specific to my programming, my dynamic pause, and I'm
Mm.
hoping that that's going to be a good content tool where people can kind of get their head wrapped around what that means and how it can apply to what they're doing. You know what I mean? And what they're doing as leaders, you can take a dynamic pause and bring that into your team. And how if your team culture needs a shift, you can
Mhm.
apply that method in there. If you're you can work with a coach and get it done.
Mhm.
If you're just needing to there's a project that you're trying to get through and the different varying personalities and approaches to getting work done is a
Mhm.
hindrance. You can bring in that framework or a framework using coaching and get your team through that project with ease, right? Because it's somebody who brings you to focus on what is and what is not, right? So you can help just kind of parse away some of the chatter, outside chatter. But yeah, I love coaching. It just did something for me. It does. It still does. It does
Mhm.
something for me that's a little different than a counseling. And I've had counselors too, and they are wonderful. It's a different discipline than counseling. And yeah, it's very valuable. But yeah, if people want to talk to me, I don't want to sound like I won't talk to people about it because I will. I love talking to
Mhm.
people anyway. But I'm just saying, for as a business, from as a business mindset, it's really I will send people to learn, and I can send you stats, but I can't. I'm not going to necessarily spend a ton of time
Mhm.
convincing you that coaching is great. you
Right.
know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, um, in our pre-interview, I was explaining to you that this season of we're calling this season of the Girl Talk Sunday podcast the season of the reboot. And so
Yeah.
we are talking to men and women who, for whatever reason, at some point in their life, they had to hit the reset button and
Mm,
start all over.
mm.
And we want to hear, what that journey was like. And did you have a coach during your season of, rebooting your life? And how did that person walk you through? Because I know you said that you went through a divorce
Yeah.
and kind of had to refocus and get re-engaged in life and restart. So what was
Yeah.
that life like for you?
It was tough, man. It was the personal journey of the divorce thing, but it was like a perfect storm of a few different avenues of life. There was like some health stuff going on where we almost lost my oldest grandchild to a rare autoimmune disease. We had the faith thing where the church I had been at for over 20 years basically imploded due to some of this stuff we're seeing now with, racial tension and just a misappropriation of the word of God. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just gonna say it plain.
Yeah.
But those were 20 some year relationships
Mhm. Mhm.
that you kind of get caught off guard because you're like, what the heck?
Yeah.
And so I was blessed to have a therapist because I started seeking therapy
Mhm.
from the personal aspect of the relational thing. And
Mhm.
I chose my therapist on intentionally because she had in her bio, she had a coaching background. So I
Mm.
ended up getting the best of both worlds. And
Mhm.
so she asked beautifully strategic questions.
Mhm.
Um, she knew how to sit in the pause of letting time hang out to give a person a chance to get in there and figure out what that answer is, not forcing it, right?
Mhm.
Silence is uncomfortable sometimes. In coaching, you need to be able to let there be silent moments. Um, it was it was a beautiful and hard thing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I was determined, and I talk about this a little bit in my upcoming book, but I was determined that though I was in a perfect storm of many sides, I lost my dad in that
Mm.
time, like he passed away. I had a friend tell me, hey, there's a lot going on in the world right now. COVID was happening, and
Mhm.
there's a lot going on right now, but sometimes I feel like you are having like the Job experience. And
Mm.
I never would have put that on myself, but then when she said it, I was like, "Oh God." There is
Right.
there's a lot happening here,
Mhm.
a lot of things going on, and, but yeah, so it was one of those things where, differently than I encourage my clients to take their pause intentionally, they make that choice to pause.
Mhm.
Life paused for me, I ended up finding myself um, in a fetal position, just wrapped up in what in the world just happened and what is going on. But the thing that stood out for me while I was down, and I was okay with crying, I was okay with all the things because that we need that.
Mhm.
But the thing that stood out for me while I was down was I'm not getting back up the same. I knew that. I
All
knew
right.
that. I did not
Mhm.
know all the answers, but
Mhm.
I knew I was not getting back up the same.
Mhm.
And so, uh, me and God started talking. I made sure me and God started talking, and he
Mhm.
literally let me know. He said, "It's time. You're gonna start doing this thing." And just he things floated to the top, you know what I mean? Like it's time for the business. It's time for writing. It's time for and so there's other forms of writing that has taken place since then, since that moment.
Mhm.
Musical writing with some friends, some poetry type things that are just healing
Mhm.
type things. Some of my poems actually turned into some of the music that we've been writing. And but all of those things leading and guiding this journey to
Mhm.
reboot and to understand that it's not about getting rid of where you've been.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
not that's not it. It's
Right.
about mining those
Mhm.
moments,
Yeah.
not being afraid to look back at it,
Mhm.
mining it for everything that he can use in the future. That beauty
Mhm.
for ashes situation.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it's been I love like, honestly, where I am right now, I love it. I didn't love it when I was in the thick of it,
Oh, yeah.
okay?
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
there was
I feel
a lot
that.
of,
Mhm. Yeah.
there's aspects of things that was from in my heart felt like more of a liberation or a deliverance kind
Mhm.
of
Mhm.
mindset is, you don't have to be where you were, but it's okay,
Yeah.
to have been
Yeah.
there. And I told my therapist one time in one of my sessions, like, hey, I just need to you know, I wanted to let go of the person that I was before because I felt so guilty for finding myself in some of those roles. When you start taking ownership for what's your contribution, where, how'd you get here? Some of us are like, I tell people I had a bad picker. You know?
Oh.
And so, but beyond
Yeah.
that, even when you really sit with yourself and
Mhm,
let yourself just review some of those things,
mhm,
for not for the sake of beating yourself up, but for the sake of trying to ensure you don't make the same decisions again.
mhm,
I wanted to
mhm,
let that person go.
mhm,
And my
mhm,
therapist said, no, you need to welcome her in
mhm.
and get to know her,
Yeah.
and and um honestly, like, show love, because who she was in that moment was who she was, you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
And I was just like, wow, and thinking about all of that. But I am in my 50s, y'all, and I feel great. I just
Yeah.
I feel like I told the Lord, I said, I'm doing everything you told me to do. I'm gonna go for every bit of it, and I will enjoy this journey. It's not going to be just about where I end up. I'm
Mhm.
enjoying every step of the way.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been divorced now for 4 years, and during that period of time, I that was the first time in my life that I was ever grateful that my life was falling apart. I was actually grateful because, and I said this on my Facebook earlier today, some things have to fall apart in order for other things to come together.
Mm,
It just has to be that way. And
yeah.
so while I was walking through it, I'm looking down like, okay, there that go. Okay, yeah, that okay, bye. Okay, there that goes. And I had such a sense of calm and a sense of peace as it was happening. And I could genuinely from my heart say, thank you, Lord.
Mm,
Thank you for dismantling this facade that I've been, cultivating all these years. I was grateful. Did you
mm.
find yourself expressing gratitude for God, even though on the outside it looked like a hurricane just hit your whole life?
Right,
But did you
right.
find yourself saying, God, I thank you? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
100%. 100%.
yeah.
None of the other stuff matters without him.
Mm-hmm.
And I was
Yeah.
grateful to have him. I was grateful
Mm-hmm.
to be sure of that thing. I was grateful to be
Mm-hmm.
sure of who he was. He was the rock. Like, I knew, like, I was looking around me and it looked like a daggone war zone, just like stuff blowed up everywhere. But the one place that I knew was solid, the one place that I knew was not moving, was him,
Mm-hmm.
was who he
Mm-hmm.
is. And
Mm-hmm.
therefore, when I got through crawling a little bit, dusting off my knees, picking myself back up, tripping again over the piece of rock that was in the way, all of those things didn't matter, because I knew that solid foundation, that ground, it might be shaky, but
Mm-hmm.
to me, but to it is solid. He is
Mm-hmm.
there, and I'm
Yeah.
so grateful. Yeah, I've never not been grateful. And I think that's something I would love to encourage everybody with, because I think sometimes we feel like we can't ask questions. Like, we can't
Mm-hmm.
question what's
Mm-hmm.
going on. Um, that is just a false pit of hell thing that we've kind of adopted in, because we like to say, one of my friends said it today in church, we like to position ourselves and look at God as, it's only good if good things are happening in our life, then it's God, right? As long as there's a good is attached to it, then it's God. And that's
Yeah.
not how it works. And if
Yeah.
we don't ever let it still be God when something else is happening in your life, how do you
Mm-hmm.
grow in relationship with him? Jesus asks questions all the time. Almost
Mm-hmm.
every person in the Bible that we would consider the hero and pause here to say, how come we always picture ourselves the Josephs, the Davids, and the other
Mhm.
people? We don't
Mhm.
ever picture ourselves the other folks, the ones that was snatching clothes and false telling stories on
Yeah,
somebody, and
yeah.
handing them earrings for the gold calf
Mhm.
because we got impatient of waiting. What's
Mhm.
our golden calf that we want to make in our lives because we're impatient for waiting to see what God's going to do, or
Yeah.
waiting to hear what he has for us, or actually following the first set of instructions that he gave us?
Mhm. Yeah, I like how you said you were grateful to be sure.
Mhm.
That's a message,
Mhm.
Angie. That's a whole message.
Yeah.
Grateful to be sure,
Mhm.
sure that even though it looks like
Yeah.
life is falling apart,
Yeah.
I'm sure that God is with me.
Mhm.
And my gratitude springs from that. Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
I love
it's beautiful. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. I think that's a test sometimes for us too, in
Mhm,
our relationship with God, like in relation to how we exist here on
mhm,
earth, right?
mhm,
What I mean by that is, we talk about him all the time. We tell people how much we love him.
mhm,
And I believe we do. But at the same time, a lot of times without us realizing it, that expression of love is dependent on how things are going in our lives here on earth. As a believer, heaven's coming down to us, right? And we're gonna get new heaven, new earth. That's what those of us believe in predominantly in our Christian faith.
mhm,
So, do we really want him? Because if we do, why are we running? Like it isn't. This is just a piece of what this long-term relationship is going to be like with him,
mhm,
and how much of what we do here is going to affect the other side of
mhm,
eternity. Well,
mhm,
there's just a few ways we can do that, right? He told us um, to go and make disciples, meaning like go tell your testimony and tell people what I did for you. That's what
mhm,
it is, right? And then love your neighbor as yourself. So in
mhm,
everything that we are doing in every circumstance of our lives,
mhm.
down, up, sideways,
Whatever.
whatever, that's
Mhm,
our center right
mhm,
there. We're
mhm.
never not able to tell of the glory of God and what he's done in our
Yeah,
lives. And
yeah.
we're never not able to truly love our neighbor, love God and love our neighbor. Those are things that are always in our
Mhm.
grasp and always in our control. And I believe that God gives us a lot of freedom in how we do that.
Yeah. Whew, yes. Oh, this is so good. Can you talk about a transformational story of one of your clients that just left you in awe?
I want to share with you like my first one way
Mhm,
back when,
mhm,
because this one just kind of hit home because it was a little personal. I
mhm,
had worked for one of the things that I've done in my lifetime. I was in staffing for a long time. I worked for a local staffing company, and then left there and went and worked for one of my clients is a manufacturing company that does stuff. And I worked in the sales and marketing department and got to know some beautiful people while I was doing that work for those years. And one of the people that I got to know there, once I got into coaching for real, she was like, Angie, I just need you to be, I need a coach and I need you to be my coach. And I was like, really? I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so impressed by like, I work, you work with somebody and that they would actually, engage you in that way when you're switching into a different field is just beautiful. And
yeah,
so, we actually did it. We set up the appointment. She had something that's very specific. She had been working for this company a good 20 years already,
mhm,
was pretty much being looked over uh, by money
mhm,
and by, honestly, by title too, if I'm real honest.
mhm,
And she just didn't know what to do. She was very comfortable where she was in that because she had been there so long. Imagining moving to another company was a big step for her. So we did some coaching of that. But she really didn't want to move. What she really wanted was to be acknowledged and to be seen where she was, where she had invested her energy, her time, her skills. And honestly, she deserved it. So we coached through that moment. And what her specific goal was to meet with who she needed to meet with and come out with a certain raise. And it was not a little bit of money. You know what I'm saying? She wanted that recognition through the money because she should have gotten it a long time ago. So our coaching experience together was one that she had to see herself that she was worth that.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
that she wasn't begging for that. Like
Mhm.
they're not doing her a favor. Like that was hers. And if other
Right.
people's already come and gone and getting it and not doing what she does,
Mhm.
right? She has a very pivotal role there. And so the coaching goal involved a couple of things. Yeah, in goal,
Mhm.
she wanted that money, but she can't control what other people are going to do, you know. But what she could do was prepare for that conversation and
Mhm.
prepare for that negotiation with those people. And that's what we did. And we worked on it. And then she went in there. She got that appointment. I'm telling you, to schedule the appointment was a big deal. She was
Mhm.
shaking. She said she was so nervous to just kind of send that email saying, "Hey, I want to meet with you. I need to meet with you." And this is a, president of the company she's talking to and all that. And I'll never forget the day she called me and she because she did it. She let me know when she hit the green button to send the email and ask for the meeting. She let me know the day that they were going to have the meeting. She let
Mhm.
me know because she got gaslit a little bit
Mm.
initially. But we coached through that too. Because I let her know, like, in order for you to really get what you want out of this, you got to be willing to lose it. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Because they might tell
Mhm.
you no. Are you
Mhm.
going to stay then? Because then it's a
Oh,
whole
wait a
nother.
minute. Hold on. You can't drop a bomb and just keep talking. In order for you to get through this, you got to be willing to lose this thing that you're getting
Yeah,
ready to fight for.
yeah,
Because you might very well lose it, and you have
yeah,
to be willing to let it go. Oh, talk
100%.
some more about that. Talk some more
Yeah,
about that.
I just, encouraging to not don't start the journey if you don't know what the full cost is of that
Yes,
journey, right?
yes.
Because we can be telling ourselves that it's about money, but it's really not that. It's about your dignity. You
Yeah.
feel overseen, period. Point blank, period. But she also enjoyed her job. So it's not like she hated her job or anything like that. So it wasn't
Mhm,
her running. She can go somewhere else and do the exact same thing for another
mhm,
company. But she had
mhm.
invested herself here and she had a
Right.
great reputation and all that. So yeah, I was just like, girl, you don't have to, like, are you ready to lose that? What do you mean?
Mm,
Like, okay, if you start this conversation, what does
mhm,
it look like on
mhm,
the other side of this if they say no? Where do you see what's happening in that moment? And
mm,
she, I left the quiet spot for her to sit with that. And that's not
mhm.
something you determine in 2 minutes or even 5. That's something you got to take home. You're gonna need to journal about it, or what what does this mean? But
Yeah.
if you determine to start moving forward in that, then yeah, I'm gonna support you through that. But she called me, she got the gaslight at first.
Mhm,
But she held her ground because she had already done the work to hold her ground in that moment. She didn't have to change everything about who she was to stand strong in that moment. But I guarantee you who she became after that moment was
mhm,
a different person. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was
mhm.
building on herself. She transformed herself to be a person that was okay to speak for herself, to advocate for herself. And she got
Mhm,
the money. And so
mhm.
she tried for the money and the title. She got the money and she decided that that was enough
Yeah.
in that season, right? But she learned that she can stand up for herself and she can do more. Like, that nothing changed. Think about it. The same job, the same people you've been going to work with for forever. You know what
Mhm,
I'm saying?
mhm,
That's it. It's you showed up. She showed up differently.
mhm. Yeah.
So that was a beautiful
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
times we are hoping, wishing, and praying that other people would show up differently.
Yeah.
But really, what can make the difference is you showing up differently.
100%.
Yeah, that is
100%.
good. And I
Yeah.
love what you said about, you got to be willing to lose in order to win. And
Yeah.
that can apply to relationships. Um, it can apply to friendships.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're fighting to hold on to this friendship, and really the best thing that you could ever do is to let it go. And
Yeah.
sometimes that means that you allow a person to go and have their time to grow and evolve and mature. And then later on, you'll come back and you'll build a new friendship. And then
100%.
sometimes it means your season with that person is over
Yeah.
and you have to
If I
let
can
them move
share
on.
something
Yeah.
on that topic that came to me recently was, and I was sharing with somebody else. I think I was sharing with Benita, who's in the chat right now.
Yes, she is.
But there's this thing that I think about how our friends are on different levels. It's not that it's not a worth thing. It's not a worth. I'm talking about seasons of life. There are some people that you should not be expecting reciprocity from,
Mm-hmm.
because you already know you're not getting it. So
Yeah.
why are you know this by what's going on in their life right now, how they show up, what their personality style is, whatever it is, you already know you're not getting reciprocity there.
Mhm.
So why are you wasting energy being upset that you're not getting reciprocity there? So what I'm saying is like, yes, sometimes those friends are moving out, but sometimes it's just how we're adjusting our expectations with people.
Mhm.
And then if we know we need reciprocity in our lives, let's go get it from the people who are capable to give it.
Mhm.
Let's
Mhm.
set up these friendships that are people that we know we're going to get it both ways. And then, as we are as believers, our life is ministry. Whether you work in a church or whatever or not, you're
Mhm.
constantly giving something to someone. Well, you should be. I mean, I'm just saying,
Mhm.
you should be. So even in our friendships, there are those moments. And then there are those friends that we have to let go. But like, we just literally have to.
Mhm.
It's just not good. It doesn't mean that you can't ever have them back, but
Mhm.
there are some people who haven't learned how to celebrate
Mhm.
one another, or even just not harm. Can
Yeah.
we just, like, if you're not ready to celebrate, can we at
Mhm.
least not harm, right?
Right. Right.
Uh, there are
Yeah.
people who, with their words, um, or with their actions, can do so much harm
Mhm.
when you're trying to go work through your stages. Like, I want to celebrate with you. So you tell me something's going on with you. I don't have to interrupt you and tell you what's going on with me.
Oh
I can
God,
just
please
sit in
don't.
that space with you and celebrate you, right?
Yes. Yes. Oh Lord, I'll be 57 in a couple months, and I am at a point in my life where I'm very clear about who's a good fit
Mhm.
for me in my life. And some people are just not a fit for where you're going, where God is
Yeah,
taking you.
yeah,
They're no longer a fit for that. They're no longer
yeah,
a fit for that journey. And I used to want to hold on to people really tight,
yeah.
but I have learned the art and the blessing in goodbye. And I say it with all love and respect, but I can say it now. It
Mhm.
doesn't hurt my heart to have to say it. And I've had to say it to a few people over the last few years. But
Yeah,
I used to have gallon-sized expectations of people who had a pint-sized capacity to give
100%.
me
I
what I
love
needed,
you.
and that will
Mhm.
leave you ramming your head against the wall.
Yeah.
Nobody's growing in that scenario.
Mhm.
Nobody's evolving. Nobody's maturing.
Yeah.
Everybody's frustrated. Everybody's mad. Everybody's sad. So, somebody has to be the first to bust a move. That's how I feel. If I got to be the first to bust a move, then I'll be the first.
I love it.
I
I
wasn't
love
always
it.
like that, but I am now.
Yeah.
Definitely. Tell me
That
about your,
energy.
yes. Talk to me about your educational background.
Wow. I just, it's so funny. My son is close to your son's age. My son is 33. He'll be
Mhm,
34 in October. He
mhm,
works for an organization in Lakewood that works with students and inside of schools, community and
mhm,
schools of Lakewood. And one of their sites asked if I could come out and talk to the 7th grade AVID kids
Mhm,
about
mhm,
just life, whatever,
mhm,
things that you've done and all of that kind of stuff. So I had to put together my little thing, and Jordan
mhm.
was like, "Mom, I want you to do it based on because you have a non-conventional education journey." I said,
Right.
"That ain't no lie." Like, so that sucker spanned across years.
Yeah.
And it did. But, so I did ultimately I finally finished. I'm thinking I'm done. My master's in leadership ministry with a concentration in life coaching in 2016, no, 2015, 2016, somewhere in there. But I had started my journey many years before that,
Mhm,
pursuing a bachelor's degree in business management. That made
mhm,
sense to me. I was working in the marketplace. I'm a business. That's me, right? Let's
mhm,
go.
mhm,
But it was another one of those Kairos moments, right? Where you're discovering something. I started going back to school. It's like, I just need to finish this thing. My kids were like in high school now and all this stuff.
mhm.
And then it turned out, I discovered this whole, wait a minute, there's a whole leadership thing. That's what I need to be doing. So I got an associate's in general science
Mhm,
for business through Troy University,
mhm,
switched schools to a local seminary here, Faith International University, and got my bachelor's in leadership through them. Discovered coaching while I was pursuing that, got my certification in coaching, and finished that up. And by the time I was done with that, they had developed a master's program that was
mhm,
specific to, they always had one for leadership, but that was a specific concentration in coaching. And
mhm.
so I pursued that and did all of that while my kids were still in school. I was working full time, like people was getting married, people was graduating. Like there's a lot, there's a lot going on, but the Lord was faithful, survived it all, and I'm grateful for it. And I
Yeah.
wanted to have a book burning afterwards because I just trying to, trying to get through that season of life. But I am grateful for it in that I believe that all experiences we walk through, we have the ability to learn from. I
Mhm,
know that I had learned a ton in the
mhm,
work experiences that I've had. I'm a veteran. I learned discipline in that,
mhm.
experience many years ago. I mean, my dad was in the military too. So, some of that came with me. He was so mad at me when I joined, but got over it. And but yeah, I was in for a few years. So there's just been a big journey of that. And now I like to consider myself, and I will tell people that I am a student of life, um,
Mhm,
because I love questions. I
mhm,
don't see myself going back to school. What I said was, I'm just going to start getting to know people well enough to where somebody's going to hand me that honorary doctorate, so I don't have to go back out and do all that stuff again. But we'll see what the Lord has. We'll
mhm,
see. I'm not looking for a title. Um, but it's fun when you've saturated, your life's been saturated
mhm,
by many things, and there's just no way to touch on it all here, but it's very informed by a lot of stuff. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. But I'm grateful for that. But yeah, my education, that's what I did. I was like, and then I came out of that program, um out of that master's. I ended up teaching at that same uh institution. I
mhm,
ended up teaching the life coaching program for about a year as a
mhm,
sub
mhm,
for my then teacher who was actually, it was his program. So
mhm.
we kind of linked up. I did some substitute stuff for him off and on, and in the beginning, and then next thing you know, that turned in, can you teach the whole program next year? And I was like, sure. So that's kind of the last thing I've done in an educational institution. We'll
Right.
see what the future holds.
Well, I have to say that you present like someone who has a PhD in coaching. I don't
Hey,
know if
I'll
that's a
take
thing,
it. I'll
but
take it.
but if it is, that's how you present. When
Oh,
you speak about what you do, you speak fluently,
oh,
which
thank you.
lets me know that you genuinely love what you do. And
Mhm.
like you said, innately you are a coach.
Yeah.
You have to attach some credentials to it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what people like to see.
Yep.
but innately, that's who you are. And
Yes.
that's why you're so good at what you do.
Yes. Thank you so much. I
So
appreciate that.
if we have folks watching who want to reach out to you, they can go to your website here,
Yeah.
transformation.com.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm on
And
LinkedIn. I'm on I'm on, all the things. So,
mhm,
but yes, go to my website. I'm there. There's a contact thing. Oh, can I please mention we have an event?
yes, I'm
Actually,
gonna put up
author
there.
Bonita Lee and myself, we are doing an event on International Women's Day, which is on March 8th. It is
Mhm,
called Awaken Her, a spring summit for women. Awesome. Thank you. Look at you.
mhm. Oh, yes, honey, we have to promote. Yes.
Okay. And we visit either one of our pages, and there's a link there to register and get your tickets. But we are looking forward to this half day time together. She's going to do an awesome workshop in center and community care. I'm going
Mhm.
to do a workshop. You've got next, leading with hope and intention, because I really believe that we as leaders, and women are amazing anyway, but we as leaders are going to be so pivotal in what's happening in our world right now. And then
Mhm.
we're going to do some interactive activities together. We're going to have lunch and all that stuff. And then you're going to get to just spend some time with some other amazing women. And that right there, I mean, it's priceless in my
Yeah.
opinion. Yeah.
Awaken Her,
Yes.
let
The
me,
spring
March
summit
8th,
for women.
a
Yeah.
spring
March.
summit for women. And what time?
It is starting, doors open at 9:30. It's going to start at 10. It's going to be from 10 to 2.
Mhm,
We're going to be down at the Tacoma Arts Live location, which is on the corner of, I think it's 11th and Yakima.
mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Oh my gosh. Gosh, I have another event that day. I would
Oh,
be
okay.
front and
Well,
center.
spread the word to somebody else who's
I
not going.
will. I will. I'll definitely be advertising for you on my social media platforms. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Well,
Thank
before we
you.
end the show, we got to look in the chat because you have some love in the chat. Chantel, that's my good friend. She said, Amen. It was a great oh, yes, Pastor's message. Yes, it was really, really good. Thank you
Mhm.
for stopping by, Chanel. Chanel. I'm not used to calling you Chanel. So, and Bonita Lee is in the chat.
Yes,
Yes,
my
she's a
girl.
friend of the show, author, educator,
Mhm.
champion of the children, you name
Yeah.
it. Bonita does it all. We love her so much. My sisters in the chat, Miss Alice, love you, sis. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for watching. My girl Chanel says yes, facts. When we were talking about relationships and
Mhm.
having to let stuff go in order for new
Yeah.
things to come in, yeah, yeah. I don't know anybody that's never been through that.
Right.
I don't know anybody that's never been through that. You
Yeah.
cannot go through life with a closed fist. Sometimes you got to open your hand to receive.
Mhm.
And when you
Mhm.
open it, what's in it may fall out.
It's true.
Now something else can come in. So that's the way I think about life now. I don't think about it in terms of I'm losing something forever.
Mhm.
Like you said, it's just more about okay, I'm having some growing pains.
Yeah.
So I'm going through some growing pains. I'm growing, I'm evolving, I'm maturing, I'm changing, I'm becoming more of who God created me to be. And
Yes.
some things have to fall away.
Mhm.
Have to, and I have to be okay with that and be grateful that I'm sure God
Yes.
is with me. Girl, I will never forget that.
I love that open hand thing too, because if your hand is clenched all the time, holding on to the thing that you have,
Mhm.
how can he put something else in it?
Yeah, you can.
You have to open the hand. So don't be afraid to lose something, and it's got to be open to receive the next thing.
Yeah, and it can be difficult, especially when you're young.
Mhm.
Oh no, Angie, I think you gotta hit 50 to get that. You shouldn't
There's
have to.
there's
Hopefully
something
you can
about
get it
50.
earlier. Yeah, it's
40s, 40s
about
was
turning
good
50.
too, but 50, man, I tell you, there's some besides that, Perry Minna and a full lip,
Right.
my little lip starting to, yeah.
Mm.
Besides that, I mean, everything else, man, it's the bee's knees.
I would love to see women get that in their 30s and their 40s.
Uh-huh.
And with you coaching women on that and me
Mhm.
using Girl Talk Sunday as a platform
Yes,
to teach that,
yes,
that's possible. You can get it
yes.
sooner. I wish I would have gotten it sooner.
Same.
I wish I
Yeah.
could have got it in my 30s, but it just wasn't meant to be that way. I
Yeah.
got it when I needed to get it.
Yep.
Now
Yep.
and now I really got it. So, I can go on and I can teach that lesson because I've learned that lesson. But if
Mhm.
women get that early in their life, that it's
Yeah.
okay to let go
Yeah.
and
That's
be
part of that
and
give
do.
we were talking about.
Mhm,
We're living our life to give instead of
mhm.
only living our life to survive our stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
You're more apt to pass it on,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because I know my mom was surviving. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? She was surviving some stuff. So I
mhm.
get it. Yeah.
Yeah, we were not created to live in survival mode. We were not.
Mm-mm.
Nothing
Mm,
abundant about that. And a
nothing.
lot of times we find ourselves in survival mode because we are dragging what we should have let go of 20 years ago.
Uh-huh.
But we still
Like that
dragging
cushion.
it,
You're still
limping.
holding it.
Yes, yes. Oh,
Mm.
child, yes, I got it. Uh, my auntie Vern is in the chat. I'm truly enjoying this program. I'm so proud of you. Thank you, auntie.
Aw, that's so
She's like
sweet.
my number one fan.
I love it.
Watches all my shows and she makes sure that I know she watches all
Mm.
my shows. I appreciate her so much. Chanel said, the both of you have truly blessed us. You both should collaborate on a book or a work. Look, Angie got a book in the works.
I do.
So
I
we're going to have
it's
to bring her
coming.
back. The book is ready.
Yes, I would love to come back.
Yes, well, we will definitely, definitely have you back. You guys
Awesome.
mark your calendars for March 8th. Awaken Her, a spring summit for women. If you follow me on Facebook, you follow me on Instagram, I will be highlighting this event so that you don't forget. If you can be there, if you can
Yeah,
make it, you definitely want to be there.
yeah.
Angie, now you see what Angie's bringing to the table. Now you add Benita to that,
Oh,
child.
yes.
Yeah, you need to be there. So go to Angie's website,
Yeah,
transformation.coach, and get registered for Awaken Her. If you can be there, don't miss it. You need to be there. Please, please share this live so that other people know about the March 8th Awaken Her event
yeah,
coming up, hosted by Miss Angie Jones.
yes.
And
Oh, let me say one thing. It's transform.coach. So not the full word transformation, just transform.coach.
okay,
Sorry.
I'll
My
make
eyes. I was so happy to be here. I didn't even notice it till just now. So
I will make that correction and I'll
okay.
repost for you.
Thank you. Thank you. So,
Transform.coach.
yes, yes.
Now, when it comes to your coaching, what you have to offer, do you have different packages?
Mhm. I
How does all
do.
that?
I have
Mhm,
different packages. There's different things for like one-on-one coaching. We can kind of come up after I talk to you. The consultations are free. So once
mhm,
we talk to one another and just kind of see what we want to do, what the plan is, we can
mhm.
either plan. Some people like to treat their coaching the same way that they treat their counseling. It's just an ongoing thing. It's a thing I do once a month. I meet with my coach, right? And then
Right.
it's just like whatever you want to do. But if you're wanting to actually, you know, I'm going to be doing some cohorts and I don't have dates yet. So just be watching out. I'm going to do a
Okay.
few cohorts for the dynamic pause, like a crunch, like 6 to 8 week course of
Mhm,
that
mhm,
together. And it'll be like group coaching. Once a week, we'll meet together, for an hour, but then there'll
mhm.
be work that we do in between. And then we'll have individual coaching, onboarding that on, individual coaching, onboarding that off, and then but just a lot of group time together and activity and exercises around that pause. um, Team coaching, I do events, I do workshops, I do in-person workshops like I'm about to do with Benita, but I also do virtual workshops. So y'all just keep an eye. Maybe sign up on my website when you get there. Get on that mailing list at the bottom
Mhm.
of in the footer so that you can see when all of those things are happening. Because I would love to see you all there whenever you can make it. That'd be beautiful.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
I don't know, we might be cousins, girl. We Jones girls. I don't
You
know.
jump, yeah,
We'll have to find
it's
out.
true.
We might very well be
You
related. I
never
don't,
know.
but
Yeah.
I certainly consider you to be my sister in the spirit. Thank
Same.
you so much for being with me tonight. This
Thank
has
you.
been a great conversation.
Thank you
I
so
cannot
much.
wait till your book comes out so I can bring you back. Yes,
Yes.
we're going to
All
be
right.
keeping an eye on you. I'm going to be celebrating what you do. I'm going to be amplifying what you do on my social media because people need to know who you are. They need to know how to
Yeah.
find you and access your services.
Thank
Yeah,
you
you
so much.
this ministry is very important. I don't
Mhm.
know if what the demographic is of your clientele right now, but as a woman,
Mhm.
this kind of coaching, mentoring is very much needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you ever begin to question whether or
Mm.
not you're walking in your purpose, you are.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You
Thank
definitely are.
you. Yes, I
What you
love
were
it.
purposed to do in this season in your life.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
absolutely.
Oh my
I will
God.
never ever forget. I was grateful to be sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
might follow that.
Do
So
it. Take
if you
it.
trademark it, let me know so I can't get
I
sued.
do. It's not. Thank you so much. Thanks, guys, for joining us in this conversation. It was really beautiful today. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you back again when that book comes
Okay. Sounds
out. All right.
good. All
Take
right. Bye,
care.
guys.
All
Okay.
right. All right, y'all. That's our show for tonight. Man, that was so good. I didn't want it to end. We definitely have to bring Angie back. I told you, she's a great conversationalist. And the work that she does, you can tell that it's heart-centered work. You can tell when somebody is working from the center of who they are, the essence, the soul of who they are, because it's genuine. She is genuinely someone who wants to see people be better. And not because she's telling them what to do, but because she's helping them discover who they are and the value that they hold. You can feel that. I could feel that while she was talking. So we will definitely bring Angie back when her book is released. If you can make it to Awaken Her, please go and support Angie and Bonita. I'm going to put up the flyer one more time. Awaken Her, a spring summit for women, March 8th, 2025. All of the information that you need is at transform.coach. That's Angie's website. And also, if you follow me on social media, you're going to see it a lot between now and March 8th because I'm going to be amplifying that for them. And I'm trying to figure out a way that I can be there. I got to figure something out. I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to try though. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. Next week, my guest is Coach Rose AJ. She is, oh Lord, Coach Rose AJ is lightning in a bottle. She has gone from 300 plus pounds to being fit, fun, and fabulous. And when you see Coach Rose on social media, 9 times out of 10, she is in the gym because she loves the gym. And she is following the carnivore diet just like I am. She's coming to talk to us about her journey from, just some debilitating mental and physical challenges to where she is now. She is just a ball of energy. And she inspires me so much because she goes live every day just to give an encouraging word. And it just, whenever I see her, every now and then she'll be in her car talking, but 9 times out of 10, she's at the gym. She is at the gym. She done caught the bug, y'all. And I can't wait to talk to her about what it took for her to go from 300 pounds to where she is now. I don't know how she did it. It was just the grace of God and taking back the reins of her health that helped her do it. And the carnivore way of eating was the catalyst for that weight loss for her. So we're going to talk to her next week. Coach Rose AJ, I cannot wait for you to meet her next Sunday, March 2nd at 6 o'clock, right here on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me on the Girl Talk Sunday podcast. You know I love y'all. You know that, right? Okay, good. Good night, y'all. Be good and good night and God bless.